These are the stories
My little girl, she's changing lives just by being herself.
of organizations and people making a difference.
When you first tell someone about adaptive wheelchair boxing, it doesn't sound real.
And empowering others
It saved my life. It saved my life.
across Canada
I scored my first goal in my first blind hockey game.
in our community. Paddling out on the water is one of the greatest of summer pleasures for many people.
My name's Jaqui, and I'm the London Representative Board Member for Abilities in Motion, or AIM. AIM's goal is to provide people with opportunities that wouldn't normally get them, people with disabilities, to get out on the water and kayak or canoe. It doesn't matter if you have a vision loss or an amputation or have had a stroke, acquired brain injury, or like myself, have a spinal cord injury. We find a way of getting you out on the water and making it work for you. Would have been 2002 when I had my accident in the fall. I had a chance to work in a generating station in northern BC. One day I was just driving up to work for the night shift, and it's about 22 kilometers from the town. I just came around a big corner and there was a really big moose on the road. And I put both feet on the brakes and tried to stop, but I just wasn't quite in time, and the moose kind of fell on the roof of my car. It just was enough to snap my neck. I was using the physio in the gym at Parkwood Rehabilitation Center here, and I had heard from some of the other people that there was a person offering kayaking. I drove myself out there, and they used a lift on a dock and dropped me into a kayak, and it was great. I swear it was days before the smile came off my face. And you know, you're paddling by and you can see your wheelchair sitting there on the dock, and you're just like, yeah, bye, you know? And it's a real equalizer. Like, everybody has to use their hands to move themselves when you're on the water like that, you know, whether it's a canoe or a kayak. It's a sense of freedom that you miss when you use a wheelchair.
Clubs like AIM rely on a number of volunteers to keep things running smoothly.
I'm Ian McIntyre. I'm been with Abilities in Motion for about 3.5 years. I'm the lead instructor, or basically on the water lead for any of our paddles. I have some Paddle Canada certification to help make sure that all of our boats and paddlers are equipped with the right gear and the right training, so that we have not only a fun paddle but a safe paddle. Got involved in, I guess, late 2018. I had retired just shortly before that and was looking for some additional volunteer opportunities, and paddling is one of my passions. I saw they were looking for volunteers, so it seemed to be a good fit, and I've been with AIM ever since and very much enjoying it. I'm also the sort of the equipment guy, or the equipment manager, whatever you want to call me. Right now I'm outfitting the boats for the volunteers and clients we're expecting tonight. So different clients have different needs depending on people's kayaking abilities and other factors. They tend to either prefer one type or other, or we prefer to use them in one type or other. So this is our one and only sit-on-top kayak, this is the one that Jaqui tends to use if she's going out on the water. For those who are sight impaired, we've put little high-tech wires taped with electrical tape underneath, so when they grab onto the paddle, they feel it at the base of their fingers, and they know that they have the paddle the correct way around. So that's an example of one of the small adaptations that we've done to help them out. It's fun. As I said, it marries a passion that I have with a volunteer opportunity, so it really doesn't seem like a lot of work, especially when you can get out on the water on a nice day like this.
We all have abilities, and we all have things that we can do. We just help you enhance the things you can do to make something like kayaking happen. For me, it would have been the barrier of how would I get into this kayak and get it on the water and get back out again. So the barrier for me was the transfer. For someone else, it might be the vision issue. I'm not gonna wander out in a kayak all by myself. I wouldn't even know where I was. So we provide one-on-one, we go in a group setting. It's a safe, fun way of getting yourself out on the water.
My name is Anton Mijatovic. I have been part of Abilities in Motion for, I joined last year, so it's about a year. This is my second year, so a year. I was born premature, 2 months early, 7 months instead of 9, and then I was put in something called the incubator where the premature babies go, and there was too much oxygen in there that caused the blindness. Yeah, I tried kayaking about twice before. There's 2 ways of doing it. You could ride with 2 people, like a sighted person in the same boat, like in a multi-person boat, or you could tie up the 2 boats with a tether or a rope. I'm one of the noisiest paddlers. I don't know how to paddle quietly like others, so I made a lot of splashing sounds, and I was splashing quite a bit, splashing myself. I like to go quick, so I try to, when I paddle, I try to pull quite a bit of water, so I get tired pretty quickly.
And this kayak over here is almost outfitted, and for each of these we always set them up with a throw bag and appropriate paddle. And tonight there's somebody who's sight impaired that's going to be using this one, so I was looking for one of the paddles that we've put the little indicators, the up indicators on. And he's also going to have outriggers. This is the one that Anton is going to use. And the transfer bench, which you'll probably, something that we picked up from Home Depot, I think. There, so that's one more kayak ready for a client. So then usually once I get that ready, I'll move it over to the staging area. You can see the area is kind of limited, so we kind of stage the kayaks according to the launch sequence.
There's a base group of us that have been doing it for years, so gradually as we get volunteers, we train them as we go. And we usually offer them a kayaking course as well, so that they have at least basic certification. My friend Mary, who's a volunteer, I tricked her into volunteering by saying, you should come and watch me kayak. And somehow she ended up being a volunteer after that.
Hi there, I'm Mary LeDuc, and I'm a volunteer with Abilities in Motion. Yep, I've been volunteering since 2017. I had never kayaked, and that summer I learned to kayak, and I learned to do stand-up paddleboard. And I still don't know how to do any of it. I love the camaraderie. I like the kayaking, but I really like the community, and it's the smiles on people's faces that I really enjoy the most, to see them really out there doing their thing and enjoying it so much. It's wonderful.
We have lots of volunteers that are also have some kayak training, and they assist with going on, because we do try to have about a 1-to-1 ratio of volunteers to clients.
How's our man Anton doing?
Good.
Yeah,
he was out last Saturday. He's still doing his Mississippi paddle wheel. You know how he gets going in here.
My name's Garrett McLaren. This is my second year volunteering with Abilities in Motion, and it's just been a joy. As a volunteer, I'm mainly a paddling partner, where I take our paddlers on rides across Fanshawe Lake, and we get to enjoy Saturday mornings and Thursday evenings together. Today's trip plan.
And we're going to do it backwards. We're going to come down here, not just past him,
right,
and then back up.
When I'm not out paddling myself in Algonquin or Killarney or across Ontario, I'm here and enjoying my time with all of our fun paddlers that we have. A lot of this really resonates with me. and that is, making paddling accessible to everyone, no matter their situation or their circumstance. So when I found out that there was a place local to me that I could paddle with some people who don't often get to paddle or have that opportunity, I felt like it was something that I would really enjoy, and I do. And it's one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done.
We're inside the property of the Fanshawe Yacht Club, and that is located inside the Fanshawe Conservation Area. We get lots of requests from other locations, so we share what you might call the intellectual property of how to do some of the things that we do. We work with the Tetra Society, which is a group of engineers that volunteer to help people with disabilities make adaptations to equipment that they might need, say for a gamer controller or something like that. But they've helped us with designing backs to support people with upper body unsteadiness and different ways of hanging onto a paddle if you had grip issues. It's an ongoing process. I think that's the thing that's most interesting is everybody with a disability is different and everybody has their challenge.
Would you like a black paddle or a black paddle?
I'll take the black.
Okay. We will launch you, and then Miles, and then Matt. You are floating.
Sometimes people with disabilities end up being spectators instead of participants, and we make them participants. That's our thing.
I love nature and being in the water, it's like, you sort of leave the real world behind, you leave all your problems behind. It's great therapy, if you ask me. Nice sort of quiet feeling.
Our Community will return after the break. We now return to Our Community.
My name is Jennifer Bogue, and I'm a registered massage therapist, and I've just started recently paddling with Abilities in Motion. I heard about Abilities in Motion through a friend. His name is Kelly MacDonald, and he was really encouraging. He said, come on, why don't you go do this? And, you've done a lot of, outdoor ed stuff in high school, and, you'd be great at it. I love it. I used to canoe as a child. I went to summer camp, I got my canoeing levels, and then later on at my high school in Brantford, I was part of the outdoor ed club, and I hiked and canoed and camped and did all those things. So it's nice to have a little bit of that back because I do miss being outdoors. I was born with an eye condition called retinopathy of prematurity. So over time, I've lost vision and I can't see anything anymore. I paddle independently, but the kayak is tied by a 15-foot rope to a kayak in front of me.
We can get the bells if you found those helpful yesterday. Okay.
My kayaking partner has bells. That's the other thing we discovered after my first paddle, that bells would help. So I follow the sound of the bells and try and steer so that I'm behind or beside my partner. They do have to get to know what your style is and like what you need. I find I've only switched a couple times. Most of the time I have the same partner. It's great to be doing exercise and being outdoors. I would definitely encourage people to come out.
How are you tonight, Kelly?
I'm Kelly MacDonald, co-host of Kelly and Rumya on AMI TV and Audio's Kelly and Rumya, weekdays on AMI TV and AMI Audio. I've been kayaking for about 2 years now. This is my second year. I would say if I added up all the times I've been out, probably now 10 to 12 times.
All right. Get your sit on top with no foot pegs.
Okie dokie, turn that way, okay. Oh, I love no foot pegs. Oh, man. I got my whistle out, we're all set. Slide in, slide in.
Move off. Okay, you are floating.
Thank you. I knew that I'd have to be tethered to somebody because my vision has got to where there's no way I could follow without running into somebody or just getting lost and having them, Cal, come to my voice. gotta talk louder. Come to my voice. So for me, that whole experience of being tethered has just been an absolute ride. It's been a lot of fun. Interesting things that you think about in ways of, how can I fix this so I can follow a little better, so I can keep straight, instead of when I'm off to an angle, turning my head saying, oh, okay, I've gone off a little bit. It's a constant. So that's something to get used to, and the stroke. Other than that, it's a lot of fun, gets me out, gets me a little bit of exercise that I certainly need and enjoy, and the camaraderie and the experience is a lot of fun. I mean, what beats getting out on the water, the breeze, the sun, the fresh air, and the birds?
My name's Julia Ferguson, and I'm partially sighted and paddling with the abilities in motion for about a month. I've been kayaking a few times with a camp through the CNIB, and I love doing that. When I started in my wheelchair, I didn't think I would be able to continue kayaking. So I was happy to hear about abilities in motion and that I could continue with kayaking. It's so relaxing and peaceful being on the water, as well as where we do it in Fanshawe Lake. There are birds around and people camping, and lots of trees in the water, so it's a great location.
Our Community will return after the break. We now return to Our Community.
Just keep straight with
Yeah,
me.
all right,
Okay.
yeah.
Now you're gonna go backwards, okay?
Okay.
Get in. And
Okay.
your feet is right behind you.
Okay.
I've got bad news for you, Anton.
Yeah.
You're with Miles again.
All right.
And the feeling is mutual.
Ian is a great leader in the water, and he's very descriptive of visual scenes. For example, if there are people sailing out there or rowing, he's good at directing all of us, and he's good at making sure that everything goes smoothly.
You get to travel around, have a lot of that laughter and fun. You hear everybody else. You don't feel crowded or too isolated, but you do have to pay attention. Some of the little nuances I have not yet fully gotten a hold of. I think I'm focused on how I'm paddling, making sure I'm doing it right, and concentrating on where everyone is. But I can tell you, the confidence, the support system here is tremendous, because you never feel panic, never feel any fear, just nothing but pleasure and enjoyment.
I felt at home right away, which has been awesome. They're very accommodating. They try to keep you very, very safe, and they let you do what you can do, you know?
Well, my favorite part of kayaking is everything about it. The exercise, being in the water, the social aspect, meeting new people, making new friends, and I get a sense of accomplishment by exercising. It makes me feel good, makes me feel positive, and lifts my spirits.
It's allowed me to have outdoor activities again, which I'm really grateful for, and I'm just really happy to have met all the staff and volunteers. So yeah, it's brought a whole new activity to my life, and I'm very grateful.
I think it's actually raining now. I think I'm not being fooled by my splashes. That was good, thanks. Yeah. Okay, I'll just put the... I'm good at splashing myself.
I try to use a little bit of muscle. I pretend that I have muscle. I don't, but I pretend. Yeah, no, it's a really, really fun to do it, and I very bossy and tell people what to do. Have you noticed that I'm good at directing people? Hey, I'm
Is
just
that
gonna.
your shoulder? Head off. I'm gonna pull you up there. Miles is bringing the transfer board behind you. There we go.
Okay.
All right.
You are on land.
Thank you. A little bit wet, just a bit. I was like noticing, where'd all this water come from?
There you go.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Hey,
it was
somebody
an
got
awesome paddle.
Okay.
It was an awesome paddle. Good rhythm.
We're just
everything
moving over
really
this
nice.
way.
Everybody gets along. We're all like a family away from home sort of thing, and everybody works together as a team. It's great teamwork. Oh, they're really friendly and understanding, and people of all disabilities, and we all enjoy the same thing, you know, kayaking and the camaraderie. It's a wonderful experience.
We do need another instructor so that it's not all dependent on Ian, and we're working on that.
So I don't currently have my instructor certificate, but that is something that I'm looking at getting next year or even later on this fall. And that's something through Paddle Canada, which would certify me to lead fun groups like this on the water and make sure everyone's safe and, you know, getting the most out of their time on the water.
I think maybe Liam would do it for us.
The water is different because I will never drive a car. I will never fly an airplane. I will never do any of those things. But this gives you the sense of, you know, something to control and something to steer. But with this, I do get to, you know, actually drive something, kind of. I'm not that great at it yet, but I do. And I love the water. I always have loved the water. There's something about it where I don't have to have as much help and I can swim or kayak or whatever I want to do. It is a sense of freedom, I guess.
Director, Nick Appleton. Producers, Nick Appleton, Tyler Cameron. Camera, Nick Appleton, Byron Kuchera. Editor, Rod Christie. Sound, Mike Mearden. Audio post, Colin Caddies. Narrator, Mark Phoenix. Integrated Described Video Consultant, Ron Rickford. Supervising Producer, Jennifer Johnson. Content Development Specialist, Karen McGee. Director, Programming, Lizanne Gagne. Director, Content Development and Production, Karen Nye. Vice President, Content Development and Operations, John Melville. President and CEO, David Arrington. Copyright 2023, Accessible Media, Inc.
An AMI original production.